Shadows over Earth. The night was calm over New York, a rare stillness in a city that never slept. Stars twinkled faintly above the glowing skyline, but then suddenly, those same stars began to vanish, not because of clouds, but because something massive had entered Earth's skies. At first, it looked like a shadow, a drifting darkness moving against the stars. But then the shadow grew and grew, until it became clear. Ships, dozens, no, hundreds of them, emerged from the void of space. Each one bristled with weapons and glowing engines, black metal reflecting cold light. The people of Earth looked up in awe and terror as the invasion began. On the largest of those ships stood a figure. His armor gleamed like obsidian forged from the heart of a star. His face, marked with jagged scars, was hidden beneath a helm with burning crimson eyes. He was Zarather, the alien warlord, destroyer of civilizations, and his voice thundered across Earth through projected waves that shook the ground. "People of Earth," Zarather declared, his voice echoing in every corner of the globe. "Your world is weak. Your champions are scattered. Kneel, and perhaps I will spare you. Resist, and your planet will burn as countless others have burned before you." Panic spread. Crowds screamed in the streets. Governments scrambled in fear. Satellites picked up the alien fleet, covering the skies. Humanity stood on the brink of annihilation. But Earth was not without defenders. Inside a secret Stark Industries satellite station orbiting Earth, alarms screamed. Tony Stark, clad in his newest prototype armor, stood staring at the projections of the invasion. His AI hummed warnings in his ears. "Over 300 ships entering low orbit, sir. Power signatures indicate Starcore weaponry. Recommend evacuation protocols." Tony's jaw tightened. "Evacuation? Not on my watch. Friday, get me comms with the others." In seconds, his voice patched through encrypted channels. "Queens, you seeing this?" Down below in New York, a young man swung through the city on silken threads of webbing. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, perched atop a skyscraper, staring at the alien ships blotting out the stars. His heart pounded, but his humor remained intact. Yeah, Mr. Stark. Hard to miss the giant death fleet in the sky. Question, do they take reservations for surrender, or is it a walk-in thing?" Tony smirked despite the tension. "Not funny, kid. Grab your suit and get ready. We're going interstellar tonight." Meanwhile, in the Rocky Mountains, tremors shook the ground as a massive green figure looked skyward. Bruce Banner, his body already pulsing with rage, transformed into the Hulk, roaring into the heavens. Birds scattered for miles as his thunderous voice echoed. "Hulk smash aliens." The trio convened at Stark's orbital base minutes later. Through reinforced glass, they stared at the enemy armada slowly tightening its grip on Earth. Peter shifted nervously. "So, where's the rest of the Avengers? You know, Cap with the shield, Thor with the hammer, Black Widow with the scary glare." Tony's expression hardened. "Off-world. Scattered. Busy fighting fires across the galaxy. Which means it's just us." Spider-Man gulped. "Just us. Against that." He pointed at the enormous fleet hovering above Earth, ships so large they could blot out entire cities in shadow. Hulk cracked his knuckles. "Good. More for Hulk." Tony's suit whirred as the chest plate sealed shut around him. His eyes glowed blue through the mask. "Listen, kid. You wanted to be an Avenger, right? This is the job. You don't wait for backup. You are the backup." Peter exhaled shakily, then pulled his mask over his face. His lenses narrowed, determination flashing in his eyes. "All right then. Let's save the world again." Far above, Zarather raised his weapon, a halberd glowing with the energy of a dying sun. With one swing, he commanded his fleet. The alien ships descended, firing beams of plasma into the atmosphere. Explosions lit the skies over the oceans and deserts, shaking the planet. "Begin the harvest," Zarather ordered. "Strip their cities, crush their armies, enslave their people. Tonight, Earth belongs to Zarather." His armies poured forth, drones with gleaming blades, towering beasts bred for war, and soldiers clad in black armor that absorbed light itself. The invasion had begun. Back in orbit, Iron Man launched first. His suit's thrusters ignited, streaking across the void like a blazing comet. He blasted through the first wave of drones, his repulsors tearing them apart in dazzling explosions. Spider-Man clung to his armor as they soared into space, the vacuum rushing around him. Mr. Stark, you sure this whole kid with webs fights aliens in space thing is safe? Tony blasted another drone. Relax, kid. You've got nanotech webs. Stronger than steel. Besides, if you die, who's going to babysit my lab rats? Peter groaned, not helping. Moments later, a streak of green thunder rocketed past them. Hulk, strapped to a Stark-designed booster rocket, bellowed with rage as he leapt directly into a squadron of alien fighters, smashing two in half with his fists before drifting into the void grinning. Yeah, Tony muttered. That's terrifying. The first clash was brutal. Alien drones swarmed Iron Man, bombarding him with plasma fire. Spider-Man leapt from ship to ship, using webs to sling enemies into one another. Hulk tore apart a massive war beast, flinging its carcass into a battleship's windshield. But then, the darkness shifted. From the flagship, Zarather himself descended. His body radiated cosmic power, his halberd humming with energy strong enough to split mountains. He landed on the shattered hull of a wrecked battleship, towering over the three heroes. His voice thundered across the void. So, these are Earth's champions. A boy in rags, a man in tin, and a beast of rage. This will be quick. Spider-Man's voice cracked nervously through his comms. Quick for who exactly? Iron Man steadied his aim. Hulk snarled, fists ready. The warlord lifted his weapon, pointing it at Earth below. Your world falls tonight. And with that, the battle for the galaxy had truly begun. Strike in the void. The Earth hung below like a glowing blue jewel, fragile against the endless black of space. Above it, war raged. Alien ships, massive, angular titans of steel and fire, moved in formation, blotting out the stars. Each vessel bristled with cannons that glowed like molten suns, ready to tear apart anything that stood in their path. Three figures cut through the chaos, like sparks defying the storm. Iron Man, suit blazing with thrusters, Spider-Man, clinging and swinging between wreckage with impossible agility, and Hulk, drifting like a living meteor, leaping from one shattered hull to the next. The void erupted with battle. Iron Man's HUD screamed warnings as enemy fire locked onto him. Multiple targets incoming. Over 60 drones on intercept course. Friday's voice echoed in his ear. Yeah, I see them. Tony muttered, weaving through the void. He unleashed a barrage of micromissiles that burst into dazzling fireworks, shredding the first wave of drones. Shards of alien steel scattered like burning meteors. But there was no time to breathe. Another squadron flanked him. He snapped his hands forward, unleashing repulsor blasts that tore two ships apart. Kid, you still with me? Tony called. Oh yeah. Spider-Man shouted, his voice slightly shaky through comms. He was clinging to the side of a colossal warship, webs anchoring him as he skittered across the hull like an insect. Sparks flew around him as plasma bolts struck nearby. Just trying not to get vaporized here. He fired a glowing strand of nanowebbing, swinging between weapon turrets that were the size of skyscrapers. With a quick flick, he coated the barrels with reinforced web fluid, gumming them shut. When the ship tried to fire, its cannons backfired spectacularly, detonating in a chain reaction across its hull. Boom. And that's how you stop a death cannon with bubblegum technology. Spider-Man cheered. Tony chuckled. Good work, kid. Remind me to up your allowance. And then came the thunder. A deafening roar tore through the void as Hulk slammed into the belly of an alien cruiser. The ship bent inward like paper, metal shrieking under his fists. He tore a hole straight through the hull, emerging on the other side with pieces of armor clutched in his hands. Alien soldiers swarmed from the breach, their armor black as night, blades glowing with plasma. Hulk bared his teeth. Puny aliens, he growled, before swatting 3 of them into the void with a single swing. Another leapt at him, slashing at his chest. Hulk barely flinched before headbutting the creature into unconsciousness. Dozens more poured out, surrounding him, but he only laughed, fists ready. Hulk, fight all of you. The battle raged on. The trio pushed deeper into the alien fleet, carving a path of chaos. Ships detonated in fiery blossoms. Drones spiraled out of control, and the silence of space was broken by the violence of war. But their momentum shattered when the void itself seemed to darken. From the flagship emerged Arather. His form was monstrous, towering even over Hulk. His armor pulsed with crimson veins of energy, like molten lava frozen in steel. In his hands, the warlord carried a halberd that glowed with cosmic fire, its edge slicing the vacuum with trails of light. He landed on the carcass of a broken warship, the impact rattling nearby vessels. His voice thundered across comms, a psychic echo that reached straight into their skulls. So these are Earth's defenders? A man of machines, a child of webs, and a beast who cannot think. Your struggle is pointless. Spider-Man froze, heart pounding. He can talk inside our heads. Tony's jaw tightened inside his helmet. Kid, don't let him get in your head. He's just another oversized alien with a fancy stick. Zarather raised his weapon. Energy pulsed through the halberd, and with one sweeping motion, he cleaved through an asteroid the size of a building. It split apart silently, drifting into molten fragments. Hulk roared in defiance. Hulk not scared. Good, Tony muttered, lining up his thrusters. Because this is about to get ugly. The clash was instantaneous. Zarather leapt forward, swinging his halberd. Hulk caught the blade in both hands, the impact sending shockwaves that shattered nearby debris. Sparks crackled across his skin, but he held firm, snarling. Iron Man circled around, unleashing a barrage of missiles. Zarather raised his free hand, conjuring a shield of crimson energy that absorbed the blasts with ease. The warlord retaliated with a blast of raw power that sent Tony spiraling backward, alarms screaming inside his helmet. Not good, not good, not good, he muttered, barely stabilizing himself before crashing into wreckage. Meanwhile, Spider-Man swung into action. Using a chunk of drifting metal as leverage, he catapulted himself towards Zarather, firing reinforced web lines. The sticky strands wrapped around the warlord's arms, pulling tight. Gotcha, big guy, Spidey shouted. Zarather barely glanced at him. With a tug, he yanked Spider-Man through the void like a ragdoll, slamming him into the side of a cruiser. The young hero groaned, vision blurring. Okay, Peter wheezed, peeling himself off the hull. That hurt. The three regrouped, floating in a loose formation, staring at the towering figure. Zarather twirled his weapon with casual strength, his glowing eyes burning brighter. This is the best your world can offer? You will fall as countless others have fallen before you. Iron Man's voice cut through the comms. We need a plan. Hulk, keep him busy. Kid, aim for his weapon. If that thing keeps glowing like a Christmas tree, I don't want to find out what it does. Hulk grunted. Hulk smash stick. Exactly, Tony said, blasting forward again. The next exchange was chaos. Hulk and Zarather collided in a storm of fists and halberd strikes, each blow sending ripples through the void. Iron Man strafed around, peppering the warlord with beams and explosives, searching for weak spots. Spider-Man danced between the wreckage, firing web lines to slow Zarather's swings, tugging at his arms to open brief windows of attack. For the first time, Zarather's movement slowed. A crack appeared in his armor, where Hulk's fist landed. Sparks bled out, and a low growl escaped the alien's throat. Tony smirked. What's the matter, big guy? Not used to being hit back. Zarather raised his weapon skyward, its blade glowing brighter, drawing energy from the void itself. Suddenly, the warlord wasn't just fighting. He was summoning something. A massive glow lit up the horizon of space. At first it seemed like a star. But no, it was a weapon. The flagship behind Zarather shifted, panels opening, light flooding out as it revealed the core of a colossal cannon. A weapon designed not to fight heroes, but to destroy entire worlds. Its beam began to charge, aimed directly at Earth. Spider-Man's voice cracked in terror. And Mr. Stark, what is that? Tony's HUD went red. That kid is the end of the world unless we stop it. Hulk snarled, fists shaking with fury. The alien warlord lowered his weapon, eyes blazing. Earth dies tonight. And with that, the real battle began. Wrath of the warlord. The silence after the battle was short-lived. Among the wreckage of alien ships drifting in the void, a deeper tremor began to echo. It wasn't the shudder of engines or the flare of weapons. It was something primal, something that carried across the vacuum like a storm waiting to break. From the ruins of his shattered fleet, the alien warlord Zarather emerged, his towering form, cloaked in obsidian armor veined with molten red energy, dwarfed the fighters and ships that floated broken around him. His halberd pulsed with cosmic power, each beat like the heartbeat of a dying star. "Your Earth is but a pebble against the tide of eternity," Zarather's voice rumbled, carried through his telepathic link that reverberated inside the heroes' minds. "And you insects, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, you dare stand in my way?" Spider-Man adjusted his nanosuit, his visor reflecting the glow of Earth in the distance. "Yeah, well, we've got a bad habit of standing in people's way, especially giant space tyrants with bad fashion sense." Iron Man's scanners flickered across his HUD, reading the impossible. He's pulling raw energy straight from the black holes around the sector. His armor's basically indestructible. Hulk cracked his knuckles, his massive frame silhouetted against the void. "Good." Then Hulk smashed harder. Zarather raised his halberd, and in a single swing, ripped a scar across the stars. A surge of crimson energy tore forward, a wave powerful enough to split apart asteroids miles wide. The three heroes dove aside, the blast ripping through debris like paper. "Okay," Spider-Man shouted, flipping in zero gravity as his web lines latched onto a drifting chunk of wreckage. He's big, angry, and can literally carve space in half. Anyone got a plan B? Iron Man boosted upward, unleashing a barrage of micromissiles. They spiraled toward the warlord, detonating in brilliant bursts of blue and gold. The explosions lit the void, but when the smoke cleared, Zarather was still there, untouched, unshaken, his glowing armor feeding on the energy. "Your toys amuse me, Stark," the warlord sneered, "but they are as fragile as your world." He stretched out his hand, and suddenly, Iron Man's suit systems screamed with overload. Tony felt the power being siphoned, his thrusters failing. "Oh, this is not good," he muttered, alarms blaring in his ears. He spiraled out of control until Spider-Man slingshot himself through the void, catching Iron Man with a glowing webline. "Hang on, Mr. Stark. Don't die on me before Hulk throws you at him like a fastball." "Not exactly reassuring, kid." Tony growled, recalibrating his systems. Meanwhile, Hulk launched himself like a comet, colliding with Zarather full force. The impact sent a shockwave rippling across the battlefield, shattering nearby wreckage into stardust. For the first time, the warlord staggered, if only a step. "You think yourself strong." Zarather boomed, bringing his halberd down. Hulk caught the blade with both hands, the cosmic energy burning into his skin. He roared, muscles bulging as he struggled against the unstoppable force. Iron Man swooped back in, unleashing a focused uni-beam blast at the warlord's chest. Spider-Man darted around with lightning speed, weaving webs infused with Stark tech, binding Zarather's arms and legs in glowing restraints. For a moment it worked. The cosmic tyrants strained against their combined assault. Hulk slammed his fist into Zarather's jaw, sending shockwaves through his obsidian armor. Spider-Man tightened the bindings, shouting, "Now, Mr. Stark, hit him with everything you've got." Iron Man charged his core, the arc reactor blazing with power. "Friday, reroute all systems. Give me maximum output." "Warning, this will burn out your suit," Friday replied. "Yeah, well, better my suit than the planet," Tony muttered. He unleashed the uni-beam at full capacity. A searing column of blue energy engulfed Zarather, blasting against his armor, cracking its surface for the first time. Sparks and fragments flew into the void. The warlord screamed, a sound that shook their very bones. But just when victory seemed within reach, the restraint shattered. Zarather exploded outward in a wave of crimson energy, sending all three heroes flying. Spider-Man slammed into debris, his suit flickering. Hulk spun through the void, clutching his chest. Iron Man's systems failed again, his HUD going dark. "You Nats!" Zarather roared, his armor reformed, glowing brighter than before. "I am not a foe to be defeated. I am Wrath incarnate." He raised his halberd and pointed it at Earth. The weapon began to draw in the surrounding starlight, forming a massive sphere of annihilation energy. Spider-Man's heart raced as he looked toward the glowing planet below. Millions of lives depended on them. "We're not done yet," he whispered, forcing himself up. "Not now. Not ever." Iron Man, barely conscious, gritted his teeth. "Kid's right. If he takes that shot, Earth's gone." Hulk's voice growled through the comms, low and deadly serious. "Then Hulk makes sure he doesn't." Together, the three heroes launched themselves back into the fray, battered but unbroken. Their silhouettes cut across the void as Zarathar's ultimate weapon charged. The fate of Earth hung by a thread, and the warlord's wrath was only beginning. Final eclipse. The void itself seemed to hold its breath. Zarathar's cosmic halberd pulsed with crimson fury, its energy sphere growing larger, brighter, capable of erasing Earth in a single strike. Fractured starlight rippled across the battlefield, painting the broken wreckage in hues of fire and death. Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Hulk hovered at the edge of defeat. Their suits were battered, their bodies bruised, but their resolve burned hotter than ever. "This is it," Tony said through ragged breaths, his HUD flickering with errors. "One more shot, or Earth is toast." Spider-Man clung to a shattered cruiser, staring at the luminous sphere gathering in Zarathar's weapon. His voice trembled, but his spirit stood firm. "If we fall giving everything we've got." Hulk floated nearby, fists clenched, his eyes glowing with green fury. "Hulk not fall. Hulk fight until end." Zarathar raised the halberd high, his voice booming through the void like a god of war. "Your struggle is pointless. Witness the final eclipse, the death of your world." The energy sphere surged, pulling in fragments of stars and shattered ships, becoming a miniature sun of annihilation. Earth's oceans shimmered far below, unaware of the extinction aimed at them. Iron Man's mind raced. His armor was near collapse, but his genius refused surrender. "Listen up," he said, his voice sharp. "We can't overpower him, not directly. But if we overload the halberd's core, force it to implode, the weapon might destroy itself." Spider-Man's visor flickered as he processed the idea. "So basically, we break the biggest, scariest cosmic glow stick ever made, and hope it doesn't blow us up instead." "Pretty much," Tony said grimly. Hulk bared his teeth. "Good plan." Hulk smashed stick. Before Zarathar could release the final blast, the trio charged. Iron Man rocketed forward first, blasting the sphere with twin repulsors. The beam clashed with the crimson orb, slowing its growth for a heartbeat. Spider-Man zipped across debris, spinning a glowing lattice of StarTech webs around the halberd shaft, anchoring it to the wreckage. "Holding it barely," he shouted, every muscle straining as the web lines glowed under the cosmic pressure. Hulk roared like a thunderclap, slamming into Zarathar's chest with bone-shattering force. The warlord staggered, armor cracking under the impact. For the first time, Zarathar's confidence faltered. "You think you can chain the stars themselves?" Zarathar bellowed. "You are nothing." With one motion, he flung Hulk into a drifting battleship, shattering it into fragments. The halberd surged again, webbing snapping apart as Spider-Man screamed against the pull. Iron Man's systems screeched warnings. "Kid, if we don't destabilize it now, it's over." Spider-Man's breath shook, but his resolve hardened. "Then let's end it." He slingshot himself directly onto the halberd, planting explosive web charges Stark had designed. "Come on, Mr. Stark, detonate them when I say." Zarathar swung, trying to swat him away. Hulk, bruised but unbroken, launched himself back, clamping onto the warlord's arm, holding it in place with raw fury. "Hulk, hold!" he roared, muscles straining as cracks of cosmic energy scorched his skin. Spider-Man clung to the halberd's core, staring into the blazing sphere. Its light reflected in his lenses like a second sun. "Now, Mr. Stark." Iron Man's arc reactor blazed with everything left in it. "Friday, detonate all charges, full sync with the unibeam." "Warning, catastrophic overload," Friday warned. "Yeah, that's the idea," Tony whispered. The unibeam fired, colliding with the explosive webs. For a moment, time itself seemed to split. The crimson sphere shrieked, imploding inward with a soundless scream. The halberd cracked, shattering as energy spiraled back into Zarather himself. The warlord screamed, his armor splintering, molten light bleeding from within. "No! I am eternal!" The implosion ripped through him, tearing apart his form as if the void itself rejected him. His final roar echoed across the minds of all three heroes, then silence. The halberd disintegrated into fragments of fading starlight. The battlefield was still. Hulk floated, his chest heaving, burns marking his skin. Spider-Man drifted among debris, every muscle trembling, his suit sparking. Iron Man's armor was shattered, systems dark, but his arc reactor flickered faintly, keeping him alive. Below them, Earth turned peacefully, its blues and greens untouched by the apocalypse that had nearly come. Spider-Man's voice finally broke the silence. Did we just win?" Iron Man groaned, half-conscious. "If by win you mean almost die horribly, but somehow blow up the bad guy, then yeah, kid. We won." Hulk chuckled, a deep rumble in his chest. Hulk knew it. Big glow stick no match for Hulk and friends. The three drifted together, battered but alive, watching as Zarather's essence dissolved into fading sparks across the void. Spider-Man stared at Earth, his voice soft. "All those people, they'll never know how close it was." Tony managed a weak smile beneath his cracked helmet. "That's the point, kid. Heroes don't do it for the credit. We do it so they never have to see what we saw." Hulk grunted in agreement. "Earth safe. That's enough." As rescue ships from SWRD began to arrive, the trio exchanged a glance, unspoken, but clear. They had stood against the wrath of the warlord, against extinction itself, and held the line, together. And though the void was silent once more, the legend of that battle would echo forever, of three heroes who fought in the darkness to save the light. The final eclipse had come and gone, but Earth still shined.